Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of She Will Not Be Silenced with your hostess, Keisha Shields. So, I was working on recording videos today, one for the welcome video that I'm going to display on the main page of KeishaShields.com. And the second video is a reintroduction video for my YouTube family. Now, YouTube is a platform that I have neglected for quite some time. However, I've really been feeling pulled and called to really show up more for my audience on video. So if you're listening to this episode, as a matter of fact, you can hop over to the podcast page, click inside your episode web page, and it'll send you right where I am, and you'll be able to watch me on video. Oh my gosh. So I was coming in today to talk about a couple of things that came up for me while I was recording the videos from today. So on the YouTube video, my reintroduction, I was talking about how I really want to kind of get more personal, more personable with my community, because so often when we are executives or running our own businesses, unless you are your brand, meaning that you have always branded yourself as your brand, it can be really challenging to like work in reverse and really focus on you and not just your work, not just your business. Now, I know that for many of you all listening, because this was my experience, and I continue to find that the experiences that I'm having, a lot of other people often mirror a journey similar to that. But for me, it wasn't so much in the later years, like in recent times, it hasn't been so much that I have been worried about what people would think. Like in the beginning, I was so worried about being negatively judged and not being perfect or not being professional enough, not having a professional background. That's what I mean, not in my character or demeanor, but like I'm like, I don't have a professional background. I don't have a professional this or professional that. I don't want people all up in my business, all of those things. And so if you have experienced that, then really representing yourself as your brand, not just as your business, right? As your brand may have been challenging for you. As I was saying, that I've found in recent times that for me, it hasn't been so much the judgment. That's not what it is. As it is two things for me. One has been this idea of consistency and discipline. Now, when it comes to my work, I have a pretty good, really good discipline there. But when it comes to other things, oh my gosh, not so much. And I sometimes I don't even want to tell people that I'm going to do this thing every week because I don't know how I'm going to feel. I might not have the energy, and then I don't want to look like a flake. Like all these things that would come up around whether or not I could actually be consistent, or really, I think it's just more so discipline. If I could actually have the discipline to be consistent on the platform, right? So that came up for me. The second thing that came up also for me was just the reminder of how, for people like me, I really hold my personal life as personal. I've never really felt obligated for people to know all about my life or about my world. And it's not like I'm afraid of it. It's just that I feel like with the way that social media is and the way that society has really shifted in terms of how we relate to each other, I struggled for a while with the concern that people often feel entitled or obligated to your life. Like if you're not answering for something or responding to something about your life, that it somehow just opens you up to all of the things that people have to say. And with me being someone who really prefers to hold the personal kind of sacred, it was really not an easy decision but one that I know it was time for now. And the reason why is because I have full confidence in myself that I can trust myself, right? I can trust that I don't have to feel obligated or forced to push any further than where I want to go in a conversation, that I don't have to feel forced or pushed to talk about things that are just not the time now, or quite frankly, is not anyone's business, right? But I recognize that so often in business, whether it's you're in a career, whether it is a business of your own, so often in business, we feel like we're on an island, right? Because you're working with mentors and it's mostly about the business. When I work with clients, we don't talk just about their business. I try to get to know the whole woman. Like, who are you? Tell me about your life. Tell me about what's happening in your world. Tell me the things that you have not felt comfortable or safe telling others before. I want to know those things because I recognize that a lot of times the issues are sometimes around worthiness, or insecurities are often in those things, the personal things that have nothing really to do with business, but they actually impact your business. They impact the way you show up or don't show up. And so thinking about that, if you are at that place where you're like, gosh, I really want to be on a platform where I can actually show up and be more of who I am, actually bring my audience, bring the people who know me into the journey that is me, I want to encourage you to trust yourself and to go for it. To remember that you can stop at any point in time. And when I say stop, let me clarify. I don't mean you can just stop the platform. Yes, you can do that, but I'm talking about you can stop the conversation. You have full authority. You have full agency over your life, over your story, over what matters to you. And I want to just urge you and implore you to really take that power into your own hands. Let people know. Like, one of the things that I've been talking about, not so much publicly, but that I hinted on a little bit in the video I was recording today, is about this journey with me being more consistent and disciplined when it comes to like my health. Like, I've consistently worked out, consistently, my eating has changed dramatically. Not what I eat, but like in the amounts of what I eat, and just more intentional mindfulness. And things are going so well. Like, I can feel myself getting stronger. Like, I've been able to show myself that the discipline can carry over from, it's not just my work that I'm disciplined in, right? I never thought that I would be able to be disciplined enough in my physical, like fitness and all of that. But I've really tapped into the subconscious and the mind, and just the level of discipline that I've been able to have, and it has not been hard. I thought that it was going to be like just a nightmare to force myself to do this and force myself to do that. And that has not been the case. My workouts are kicking my hiney. Let's be clear, right? But it's been so intuitive. It's like something that I'm wanting to do for myself. It has nothing to do with anyone else, right? But for me, having just like, it started off as like this challenge to myself to be able to be consistent for a certain number of days, and the level of ease in maneuvering, ease in remembering to do it. Like, I've remembered every day to make time for what has mattered to me, whereas before I would have a ton of excuses. Now, I say excuses, they were valid reasons for the most part. However, they were excuses because they could have been accommodated. I made so many excuses as to why I couldn't, didn't have the time, didn't have the energy, didn't have all of these things. But I remembered my worth and my value and who I am, whose I am. And I knew that I would just take it a day at a time, right? And I remember yesterday I was talking to my hubby, and I was mentioning how I was grateful that I can move. Like when my dad got last year, for those of you who do know, my dad passed last year. But what I was going to say was he was working, he delivered packages for a living. So very laborious work delivering packages like to businesses, so large bundles of packages at a time. He's done that for a long time. He was delivering packages one day, just a regular day. The next day, my dad never even stood up again, never walked ever again. One day, on and off the delivery truck, delivering packages and packages and packages like a normal day. The next day, he couldn't stand up. Perfectly, physically healthy, person. And so I was talking about how grateful I feel that I'm able to move, you know? And when I saw the gratitude in that, it made it feel like something that I was doing for me. And that was very empowering to me. So I urge you, if you're finding areas in your life where you just can't seem to get disciplined, to be as consistent, because I know if you're listening to this, you are a high achiever, and you cannot be a high achiever without some level of discipline. Okay? But maybe you've been able to be very disciplined, very focused, very trusting in one area of your life, but perhaps it hasn't spilled over into other areas of your life. Maybe you focus so much on your work, but you've neglected your relationships. You haven't been able to have the time and the energy to really invest in those. Or maybe you've been great at investing in your relationships, but you have neglected the one with yourself, right? Perhaps that looks like you haven't taken care of yourself physically, or maybe you've neglected going to the doctor to be checked on, or maybe you have neglected to actually sit down and think about what matters to you and what you want for yourself. Perhaps you've been really good with the physical health stuff, but not so much with the spiritual. Maybe you've not been able to get that discipline that you want with reading your Bible or talking with God, right? So you may be really strong in an area or many areas, but then not have that same strength in others. And what I'm trying to tell you today is I want you to remember that you can trust yourself. And remember that if you've been able to be a high achiever, be disciplined in some areas, you can utilize that same trust in yourself to get disciplined in others. And it don't mean you won't fall off. Like I've been really consistent and really proud. Is it going to last forever? I don't know, but I am hoping so. But what I do know is that right now I am reaping the benefits of it. I feel stronger. I feel clearer. I feel more deeply connected to myself. And I struggled for a very long time with being able to have discipline and consistency. But I recognized a lot of it was a lack of confidence and trust in Keisha. So I want to tell you, it's time to make the changes that you need, because you never know what tomorrow is going to bring. We want legacy. We want wealth. And I'm talking about some real money, okay? Money that you can leave behind, resources that you can leave behind, and that it's still making an impact whether you are here or not. But that means we need you to be here. And I need you to be living a life, one that matters to you. If there are decisions that you have been needing to make but have been neglecting, maybe you know it's time to uproot yourself and get into a whole other environment where you can thrive. Maybe it's time for you to take the next step in a relationship or a friendship or someone you may want to cultivate something with. You have to trust in yourself and you have to have the confidence to know that you can absolutely have it, that you are willing to put in the work. And it doesn't have to be hard, but you have to put in the work. You have to make the decision and you have to trust that it matters so much to you, that it's such an intuitive thing to you, that it's going to come, the steps are going to come with ease. I would not have believed that for myself in this way, but seeing it happen, I know it's possible and it doesn't have to be hard and complicated. Trust in yourself. Do this for you. Move forward. Take the next steps that you need to take for yourself and get discipline. That area of your life that you're trying to blast through that ceiling in is going to require discipline from you. And you can do it. So I would love for you to let me know. You can hit me up on Instagram. You can email me. Okay. You can email us support@KeishaShields.com and tell me something that you have been needing to be more disciplined in and what you're going to do about it. And if you want some encouragement, just make a note of that when you send a message. You got this. Trust it, and it don't have to be hard. Until next time, ta-ta.